company out there that was distilling nicotine that had like a formal business model that they were working with that could supply a real business. So that's where we did what we did.
Yeah.
That was the real start to Nude Nicotine being a nicotine provider and not an e-liquid manufacturer. And instead of focusing on selling e-liquids, we focused on selling nicotine bases. And we started to supply pure nicotine, 100 mg per mil, the 10% nicotine bases. Those were the two hottest selling products from the start. And that, it like flipped from e-liquid point about like mid-2014, where people really liked our nicotine compared to the rest, and we just started to upscale the production. Then that led into, you know, wholesale instead of just DIY. We had a big DIY following at first, and then it started to get obviously more into wholesale as the businesses started to give rise in 2014, 2015, and that was the big e-liquid rush. That was when everything wasn't regulated yet by the FDA or pending regulation yet, and everybody wanted to try to make e-liquid, and we wanted to be there to give people safe supplies and teach them how to make it, and that was cool being at that forefront. It's exciting. But then as it grew, it's more and more wholesale, taking care of more and more businesses. And as the regulatory started to come down the pipeline from the FDA saying, this is our plan on regulating the US market and calling you guys tobacco products, that's where we took a more, call it, focused approach as business consultants too. And we opened up Nude Nicotine Analytics, and we opened up eLiquid GMP, two sister companies, to test people's products for efficacy and to give them advice and consulting and be there for them and their companies when they needed help with any sort of regulatory, whether it was from the US or around the world. And that spawned the family of companies, kind of the Nude Nic mothership, if you want to call it, of all the support and the services and everything that we could offer for anyone in their business that has to do with vaporizers or e-liquid in general. It doesn't have to do with just nicotine. There's so much entrained within it and so much knowledge entrained within it. Analytics focuses on regular batch testing and HPHCs, as well as toxicology for regulatory environments. We do batch testing for everyone who produces e-liquids on a regular basis. Nicotine gums, lozenges, the lot. Any product containing nicotine, we set up to do a consistency testing for someone who's producing products as a co-packer or that owns their own business. But we also test for different regulatory markets too. For the European Union regulatory market, for the US FDA, for any other purpose of elucidation of a specific point of data that someone would need for their quality system or other too. We're certified to use the HPLC, GCMS, GCFID, ion chromatography, emissions testing by puffing, pH analysis, specific gravity testing, a multitude of different variables that we're accredited to test for, but it all goes back to someone needing consistent data for either bettering their business or to pass a certain regulatory accreditation that they need for the budding and expansion of Nude into the future and in current. That's where we put our focus on, was wholesale, functionalized nicotine, support and services through analytics and consulting, and bringing that to everyone like a normal human being. You don't have to fly to New York and then call somebody from Florida and then deal with somebody in Texas to get one piece of information. It's all of us here.